Hey y'all, I'm Jordy, and in this video we'll be going over Paladins and all the changes they've gotten, because there are a lot, on the PTR for Phase 4 of Season of Discovery. Now this is day 1, there probably will be updates and changes. I'm pretty sure there was a shadow nerf live with one of our runes, but I'll be covering this as each change goes by to update you on potential build as we go into the final leveling phase in Season of Discovery. So looking at the official Blizzard Blue post of all the changes they're testing out right now, you can really see how much right here Paladin has gotten changed. We have the most changes out of everybody else in the game. Paladins have gotten a full revamp going into Phase 4. So first, let's talk about our new rune abilities on our Cloak. Our new rune slot is going to be our Cloak. Shield of Righteousness from Wrath of the Lich King. Slam the target with your shield, causing holy damage based on your block value. And that's important, block value, because in Phase 4, block value is no longer a meme. We'll talk about that more later in this video. Vindicator. Your Vindication talent now also decreases the target's attack power and increases the Paladin's strength, agility, and attack power up to 20% for 10 seconds. This is awesome for red, but it could also be a big argument for tank Paladins to still want to go deep into the red tree. Don't yell at me. Do not yell at me in the comments. I'm just saying this is a good argument for now. And then Righteous Vengeance. Your Judgment, Crusader Strike, Divine Storm, and Holy Shock abilities now deal an additional percentage of their damage dealt over 8 seconds. Really good, I think, mainly for PvP, especially when fighting a stealth class like a rogue or druid. Now, when looking at the other adjustments, boy, oh boy, are there some big changes. I'm going to talk about first the biggest changes, one of them being Seal of Martyrdom is no longer a rune, but a baseline ability in your spell book. That is huge. Exorcism, or rather Exorcist, is no longer a rune, it is now baseline. And the biggest plot twist, in my opinion, is that Avenging Wrath is in the game, but it is also a baseline ability. We all thought this was just going to be a new rune. Blizzard said, nope, it's just a new ability free of charge. Here you go. That is awesome for all of the Paladin specs. But reading the rest of this now, the first nerf we see is that the mana return granted from Seal of Martyrdom is now 65% of the damage, not 133. This is a big nerf to our mana regen, as I was testing this out in Lower Blackrock Spire on my Protection Paladin, and even running Guarded by the Light, mana regeneration felt just as bad as Phase 1. So I'm hoping this can get buffed up a little bit, because it does not feel good. To replace Seal of Martyrdom's rune slot, we got Divine Light from Cataclysm, a powerful, expensive heal that causes 50% of any excess healing from Divine Light to be converted into an absorbed shield for 15 seconds. And it's also buffed from talents that affect Holy Light as well. To replace Exorcist rune slot, we got Aura Mastery from Wrath of the Lich King. This is also another argument, sorry, for wanting to go red as a tank paladin, because I want to see how Aura Mastery stack with Sanctity Aura. That might be huge with Vindicator as well. Again, don't yell at me, because we're going to talk about Sword and Board and D Prot. It's actually really, really good now. Trust me, just wait to get to that part of the video. I'm just saying these are really, really good. Beacon of Light duration is now 1 hour. Sheath of Light no longer grants bonus healing. They moved that to the Fanaticism rune. Here's our next gnarly nerf. The damage done by Hammer of the Righteous is reduced by 50%. Sucks. But threat was increased by 100 to compensate, so it's a really strong threat ability still. Infusion of Light got several changes. It now increases damage and healing from Holy Shock up by 50%. This is up from 20%, and previously it only buffed healing, not the damage as well, from Holy Shock. Infusion of Light now reduces the cooldown of Holy Shock to 6 seconds, and Infusion of Light no longer resets the Exorcism cooldown. Art of War got several adjustments, and that Art of War now only applies a cooldown reduction of 1 second per crit, not a full reset of Exorcism like it used to. This means that Exospam is officially dead going into Phase 4 of Season of Discovery. Our entire playthrough has changed just from this one rune being nerfed like this. Both a W and an L in my opinion, just because Exospam is just really strong damage. So hopefully what we're getting in place of this makes up for that. This next rune change I think is the sickest out of all of them. Horn of Lordaeron has been removed and replaced with Hallowed Ground, aka our healing consecration ability. And it's super important when you read this ability because your consecration now also heals, not replaces, but does damage and healing to party members within its area for 200% of the damage it deals to enemies. This was shadow nerfed in the PTR because when I was using this in lower Blackrock Spire, I literally did not need a healer in my group. It was healing me to full, just this one ability. After it got nerfed, my healer became useful again, but it still is insane because it also stacks with other consecrates. We had a Ret, Prot, and Holy Paladin all running this, and each consecrate was healing us. Aegis got redesigned and now requires the readout talent to have any effect, and Aegis grants 30% increased block value and now also grants readout to the Paladin on a successful melee critical strike, as well as having a 10% chance to grant readout to the Paladin when receiving a melee critical strike, a huge buff to Aegis. The Enlightened Judgment rune has been removed as well and replaced with a new rune, Malleable Protection, aka our Divine Protection or our shield wall from Wrath of the Lich King. You can now take actions during Divine Protection and its duration is increased by 50%, but it only reduces damage you take by 50% instead of granting full damage immunity. Unfortunately, this is on the same slot as Sheath of Light, which is still really strong, but you now have this ability as well as your bubble, but the only caveat is you still get forbearance with this, so you can't use bubble until a minute after using this ability. And looking at Holy Shield's new revamp, increased chance to block by 32% for 10 seconds and deals 130 holy damage for each tag blocked while active. Damage caused by Holy Shield causes 20% additional threat. Each block expends a charge, 4 charges on this ability. Also, activating Holy Shield also grants you 4 attack power for each point of your defense skill beyond 300 last 15 seconds. That is an insane buff to Holy Shield. You can see me testing Holy Shield right now in PvP and look how much damage it does. It essentially kills the people that I'm dueling while using it. Now, one thing that wasn't talked about in the blue post are the util runes for our rings. We get 2 of them, so where we get our sword specialization, axe, mace, polearm, but there's also holy and defense, which are the 2 I'm currently running. So chance to hit with holy spells increased by 6% and defense skill increased by 25, which works really well with our new revamped Holy Shield. So let's talk about talents, and this is like the most traditional deep prot spec I think you can run. This is actually what I was running today while I was testing it. 5 out of 5 into readout, 5 into toughness, 5 into anticipation for that increased defense, 5 into increased shield specialization, 3 for precision, only 3 to 5 for reckoning because this isn't gray, and honestly you could probably put this in an improved hammer of justice too and nothing would really change. You put it also in improved righteous fury as well. I just put it on here. This can go in a lot of slots. 5 into improved one hand weapon and specialization, blessing of sanctuary, and then holy shield, and then we go into divine strength, improved seal of righteousness, and consecrate, and then we go into the red tree for benediction and 4 out of 5 for parry. This is your traditional deep prop build. Again, this can really go anywhere to also get consecrate as well and to get parry. And for the runes, I ran improved sanctuary, shield of righteousness, hallowed ground, which this could be swapped out for Aegis as well, hammer of the righteous, guarded by the light, because we really need that mana regen. If mana regen becomes a lot better, you could also use sacred shield, which is really strong as well if your holy paladin's not running it, or if you're solo farming, this also works. Avenger shield for our legs. Again, this one can also be swapped for a lot. There's a lot of options with the leg rune, and this is, I think, the biggest rune that we're gonna mess around with the most depending on what fight we're going into. I'm running Sheath of Light right now because again, it's just really strong. Malleable Protection is also good. We just lose a lot of damage without having Sheath of Light, but I think going into phase 4, both are going to be okay. Remember, this is a preliminary video. This is not an official guide. It's just what I tested out and what other people tested out today when the PTR was live. Hand of Reckoning for our hands. For our rings, I went with Holy Spec and Defense Specialization. So in this clip right here, this is before we believe Hallowed Ground was shadow nerfed. I just wanted to show y'all. I told my healer, hey, don't heal me. I just want to test this out real quick. So you can see right here, I'm pulling all the mobs. I use Consecrate, and I am getting healed to full from Concecration only. The healer was not casting a single heal on me. He's just standing there and I'm getting healed to full. Now, if you watch this clip, which was an hour later, this is why we believed that Hallowed Ground was already shadow nerfed, because now I'm not getting healed to full. But however, it is keeping me up for a long time. It's not doing nearly as much as it was earlier, but it's still keeping me alive. So combine this with like Sacred Shield, and it'll keep me alive even more. The only issue is, like I said earlier, our mana regen, like you can see now, is abysmal. Right here is a traditional red spec. I'm going to talk about this because red tinking is still on the table for something we might do, but I am going to talk about Retribution Paladin as a whole because it seems like now seal twisting is the meta. So yay, woo, seal twisting, yeah. I mean, I get it. There's a TBC cult that loves it. I'm okay with it. It's just not my preference. But if you are a seal twist enjoyer, rejoice, have fun with this. But we will go into all of the red tree, especially taking Vindication because of the Vindicator rune we have now. Sanctity Aura, as always, which I think will be really cool with Aura Mastery. And we're still going to take Concecration just for AoE. And also, if you wanted to use the Hallowed Ground rune instead of Divine Storm. As nice as the precision talent is, I think there's going to be enough hit pieces in the game for us to go into these, because remember, improved Seal of Righteousness now also buffs Seal of Martyrdom as well, which we're going to be using. So for our glyphs as well, we'll run Wrath, Vindicator, Divine Storm, which can be swapped out for Hallowed Ground if you want to use it, Purifying Power, Guarded by the Light, or Art of War, but remember, we just need mana, so I think Guarded by the Light is the play here. Aura Mastery, or any other of these really awesome runes like I talked about earlier. I know we can get a kick, but I'm going to be selfish and say, hey, warriors, rogues, that is something you have in your spellbook. I shouldn't waste a rune slot because you can't do your job. Sheath of Light, this should be Hand of Reckoning, but if you're going full rec, Crusader Strike. And then our rings will be Holy Specialization and then whatever your weapon is currently. Right here in front of me is what a friend of mine sent on the Light Club Discord, what he was running during the PTR. Shout out Valimar for this one. This is a single target Vindicator build, still going deep prot, but going into the red tree for Vindicator. 5 out of 5 readout, toughness, anticipation, sealed specialization. He goes into Improved Righteous Fury. Again, I think you should do this over a Reckoning. Reckoning's not good. I don't know if it's not working. It's just not good right now. Precision, Blessing of Sanctuary, Holy Shield, and 5 out of 5 one-hand specialization. And then Benediction, we need this because once again, our mana regen. 5 out of 5 parry, 5 out of 5 parry, Improved Judgment, Vindication, and Conviction. The only cost is no Concecration at all. So we'd run Aegis for our chest and Vindicator for our back. I think this is really good. I just really love having Concecration as a Paladin, especially a tank Paladin. But I cannot argue that this is a good spec, and this could arguably be one of our best specs going into Phase 4, assuming nothing changes in the PTR, which they're going to. The AoE build he sent me, I'm going to admit, is just a straight up better version of the build I was testing yesterday, mainly because he runs Improved Righteous Fury, which I don't think we need, but I think it is better than Reckoning. But with his runes, he also runs Wrath, because this buffs Hallowed Ground as well. So he's running Aegis, which does buff your Holy Shield and your Blessing of Sanctuary. But I just think Hallowed Ground is a lot better for an AoE build because of the self-healing it's giving you. Then he uses Improved Judgment over Deflection. I don't think you really need Improved Judgment because of all the abilities we have, but it's player preference at that point. So looking at the tier set bonuses that were Datamined for Holy, your 2-piece increases the chance for allies to trigger your Judgment of Light or Judgment of Wisdom to 100%. The 4-piece increases your critical strike chance with spells and attacks by 2%. And your 6-piece, when your Flash of Light, Holy Light, or Beacon of Light heals the target to full health, you also heal all members of the party for 189 to 211 health. I'm assuming that's also going to stack with spell power, so that's an arbitrary number that gets buffed the more spell power you have. For protection, our 2-piece increased our block value of our shield by 30. Our 4-piece will heal us when we get blocked. I believe that number will also get stacked higher with more spell power or attack power, because we're going to be running Sheath of Light with this. And our 6-piece is huge. It gives us our TBC Holy Shield, where Holy Shield no longer has charges and will always last its full duration, and also increases the damage by 200% of your shield block value, which makes block value not a meme anymore, because that is an insane percentage increase. For Ret, the 2-piece, your Judgment of Light and Judgment of Wisdom also grant the effects of Judgment of the Crusader, meaning we won't run Crusader anymore. We'll just use one of those two to also get the Crusader buff. That's huge. Your 4-piece increases your critical strike chance with all spells and attacks by 2%. And then your 6-piece, this has some controversy with the reds right now. Your Seal of Command, Seal of Righteousness, and Seal of Martyrdom now persist for 6 seconds after you cast another seal or until you cast a third seal, and your judgments can now trigger multiple seals if active. That means that seal twisting becomes really easy. Almost in a sense, it's seal stacking and not twisting anymore. I can see how some people would like this and some of the hardcore twisters would hate this. I have no say on this really. It's just something that's there. It's a debate for the red mains. I'm not a red main, but I'm just letting you know what it is. So testing this out for a day and being in the Light Club Discord with other paladins, this is mostly a positive. This is actually really, really cool, especially if you've always wanted deep prot to be good, because now it is. I can say running this, the major L's that we saw while we were doing this was the significant mana nerf from Seal of Martyrdom, because it is very noticeable. Shield of the Righteous does not hit that hard, and reds are still kind of not happy about their 6-piece. Again, all of this is very subject to change as it's only day 1, and that's the whole reason why they're doing this PTR, is to get our feedback. We don't know how hard the bosses are going to hit. There was a leaked picture of showing potential difficulty levels, 3 difficulty levels for Molten Core. So we have no idea what that means. We have no idea if bosses are going to hit harder. Like I said earlier, we don't know if we can survive still in the red spec as tanking. If so, then we are going to want to go deep red for DPS purposes. But right now in the PTR, deep prot is very strong. It can still do some considerable damage with Holy Shield. There are a lot of builds to test out, and there seems to be a lot of options you can use, which I don't want to get too hopeful right now. Was the whole heart of Season of Discovery, was there to be a lot of options to use. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Overall, I'm super positive. I know usually I'm super monotone when I'm doing these videos, but I'm really excited right now. I had a lot of fun playing deep prot in the PTR. Is this enough to bring you back to SOD so far? Let me know. I'm really hyped. I'm super excited. I'm going to keep playing the PTR today. I may test out ret as well. I'm going to test out the builds that my friend sent me, the single target Vindicator prop build that he sent me. But as always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for saying hi. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Follow me on twitch.tv/dirtyjd. Make sure to leave a comment down below. And as always, I'll see y'all next time.